Every day when you wake up, life gives you a choice. Keep getting older or start living again. What about starting to live again? After 60. Be honest, how many times have you heard, "You're already old, why would you want to do that?" Or maybe even from your own children who think you should already be resigned to a quiet old age. But I'll tell you one simple thing they're missing. Age is just a number, and life, it doesn't stop booming, even when you're over 80. We're all subject to social norms where we're led to believe that in adulthood all we need to do is knit, watch TV, and take care of our grandchildren. But what about your true desire? Admit to yourself honestly, because deep down you still want to enjoy life. You want movement, warmth, intimacy. Yes, the very intimacy that everyone around you is silent about. But oh, how important it is. As if aging is a judgment and intimacy is automatically taboo. Does society decide for you that when you are over 70, you should no longer desire pleasure? In some ways, by the way, they are right. If you really do not want, it is normal. But if you want to, and you restrain yourself because of the opinions of others, that's a problem. And you know what? I promise you that by the end of this video, you will look at your body, your desires, and your environment in a completely different way. There may even be arguments in your head, emotions that are hard to deal with. But at the end, I'm sure you'll understand the main thing. In the meantime, let's understand why intimate life in older age is not only normal, but also very necessary. And let's not forget how important it is to be able to live in harmony with yourself and your loved ones, even when they themselves do not understand you. But before we delve into this fascinating topic, if my words resonate, subscribe and leave a 6-word comment. It takes a second, but it will help the channel grow. Now that we've started this conversation, let's touch on another important topic: relationships with children. Many seniors find that their children begin to dictate how they live their lives. They genuinely think they know best how you should be comfortable. But think about it. Does anyone but you know what brings you joy? Can they understand your desire or the inner fire that still burns within? True wisdom comes with age, and Buddhist philosophy teaches us not to be attached to the opinions of others. Your children, though caring, sometimes forget that your wishes are as important as their own. It is important to realize that your life belongs to you and you are entitled to it despite your age. So if your children think that intimate pleasures are not for your age, feel free to remind them that happiness has no expiration date. In the next installment, I'll tell you how these misconceptions affect you and what you can do to live life to the fullest despite criticism and judgment. And that's when they themselves will marvel at your inner fire. Imagine you are sitting at a family dinner. Your children are discussing the news they saw on TV. Suddenly one of them turns to you and says, "Mom, Dad, you probably don't understand this anymore. You're older, it's not important to you anymore." As if our brains turn off as we get older. But the truth is that brains only work better with age if you don't clog them with garbage. It's like a good wine. The more time passes, the better the flavor. But here's the problem. Many of us start clogging ourselves with the garbage the news channels throw at us. I can put it bluntly. The more you watch the news, the more you poison your mind. Especially in adulthood, when it seems like you need to be in the know. But Buddhist philosophy teaches us not to get attached to the outside world and not to let the news dictate our inner peace. Believe me, most of what you see on the screens is just noise that distracts you from the real thing. You know what happens when you absorb all that negativity from the news on a daily basis? You start to believe that the world is falling apart, that nothing good is going to happen anymore. And that's when aging really comes in. But not because your body can't take it anymore, but because you yourself have come to believe that this is the end. The news may convince you that life no longer has meaning. And I'll tell you, life always has meaning if you create it yourself. You can live years looking at screens, immersed in other people's problems, or you can live the same years feeling the joy of each day, realizing that everything around you is just a reflection of your inner state. And that brings me to one important topic: the relationship with your own body. I've already told you that intimacy in adulthood is not taboo. But what about when your body no longer responds the way it used to? And that's where the real magic begins. Let me tell you a story that will show you that anything is possible if you look at things from a different perspective. Imagine there was a flower that hadn't gotten water for a long time. It looked wilted, faded, lost its beauty. But as soon as you start taking care of it, giving it enough light and water, it blooms again. It's the same with your body. It responds to the way you take care of it. And it doesn't matter how old you are, if you take care of your body, it will please you. So if you suddenly feel that your joys of life are going away, know that it's not the end. It's just the beginning of a new phase. Listen to your body, start giving it what it needs. Start simple. More movement, less news, more time with those who support and inspire you. As for intimacy, don't limit yourself. Don't think that if your partner is younger, it's wrong. Age is not a barrier, it's an opportunity. An opportunity to share wisdom, to enjoy life together. Have you ever wondered why so many young people are shy about their true desires? How many times have you heard the phrase, "You're too old for that"? Society imposes limits on us, creating false restrictions on everything about age and relationships. And you know what the funny thing is? Many young people deep down dream of intimacy with more mature partners. Why? Because the experience and confidence that comes with age is something they don't have yet. But social norms prevent them from realizing it. Let's be honest, every joke has a bit of truth in it. How many times have you heard jokes about young people wanting to try intimacy with someone older? It's not just fantasy, it's reality. People have always been attracted to those with life experience and confidence. And this is where the question comes in. Why, when you're 60, 70, or even 80, should you refuse intimacy if you want it? Think about it. Who says you can't be attractive and desirable at an advanced age? The problem is that we start believing these myths ourselves. But if you look at yourself and your body with love and respect, if you maintain inner harmony and take care of yourself, then no amount of societal boundaries can stop you. I always say that the body is a temple, but the temple needs to be practiced. When you start thinking that everything is over, your body responds to those thoughts. There is a simple truth in Buddhism. Everything we see and feel is the result of our inner state. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you think your joys are in the past, they will be. But if you decide that there are many more wonderful moments ahead, your body will respond to that. So the first thing you need to do is change your perspective on age. Stop seeing it as an obstacle. Age is your advantage if you approach it in the right way. Start treating yourself with respect. And yes, I'm talking about all aspects of your life, including the intimate aspects. It's not something you need to keep quiet about. When you are open to yourself and your desires, your body begins to respond to that openness. You don't have to be afraid of what society will say or think. If you want to enjoy intimacy with your partner, younger or older, that's your business and no one has the right to judge you. The main thing is that it brings you joy and harmony. And don't forget that every desire and every joy you experience brings you closer to inner peace. This is also part of your path, as Buddhism teaches. Enjoying every moment is the secret. Have you noticed how your relationship with yourself changes as you get older? When we are young, we have a lot of ambition, we want to achieve everything at once, without thinking about the underlying processes. But as we get older, there comes a time when we start to look at ourselves differently. It seems to many people that aging is a decline, that we should gradually let go of everything we aspired to before. But I'll tell you one thing. It's not. Real aging isn't about you getting weaker or less active. It's about you starting to see things more deeply, more clearly. It's about finally learning to find harmony with yourself. Except a lot of people are afraid of that. Afraid to look at themselves in the mirror and see not a young person, but a person with experience. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to accept your age? It's all about being attached to the outside. We look in the mirror and judge ourselves by our outward appearance. But Buddhism teaches us that our body is just a shell. Real happiness, real fulfillment comes from within. And that's where it gets interesting. As soon as you stop judging yourself by your outer appearance, you begin to notice that your body is still capable of many things. Yes, it may not be as young and flexible as it used to be. But you know what? It is much wiser and knows how to bring you more joy if you learn to listen to it. Many couples face relationship challenges as they age. And this is where it's important to ask yourself the question: who is to blame for the intimacy going away? Your body or your perception? If you begin to realize that aging is just a stage of life, not the end of joys, you can maintain harmony in your relationship even as your body changes. And this doesn't just apply to you, but to your partner as well. A mature relationship requires a mature approach. That means you need to start seeing each other not just as bodies, but as souls that have come a long way. Here's a practical tip for you. Start talking openly with your partner. Don't be shy about discussing what you like or don't like. And, most importantly, don't hesitate to suggest new things. At this age, you no longer have the fears you had when you were younger. You are free to experiment and enjoy every moment. And one more important point: take care of your body. Yes, you've heard it 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. Movement, proper nutrition and attention to your body will give you strength and energy, even at 80. Remember, your flower can bloom again if you take care of it. Let's get back to one important topic that many people are afraid to discuss: the fear of intimacy in adulthood. I wonder why this happens. It would seem that with age comes wisdom, understanding of life, and we should be more confident. But instead, many people begin to doubt their attractiveness, their desires and capabilities. And do you know what the reason is? It's all about stereotypes. Society dictates us strange rules. If you are over 50, the time to enjoy life is over. All those perfect pictures from advertising, where youth and beauty are in the foreground, make us think that with age we lose our value. But here's the truth that no one will tell you. Attractiveness is not just about looks, it's about confidence, it's about energy, it's about feeling alive, regardless of age. Now think about it. How many people around you still live under the influence of these stereotypes? Maybe even you yourself sometimes think that you are not as good as you used to be. But let me ask you this: what has changed? Your thoughts or your body? After all, if we didn't look at ourselves through the prism of societal standards, would we really feel old? There is a simple wisdom in Buddhism. The world around us is a reflection of our thoughts. How we perceive ourselves shapes our reality. If you think the time for joy has passed, it will. But if you begin to see yourself in a new light, strong, confident, full of energy, your age will become a source of strength for you, not a limitation. The first thing you need to do is let go of your fears. Start seeing yourself as someone who has come a long way and has earned the right to all the joys of life, including intimacy. You'll be surprised how quickly your perception will change when you stop judging yourself based on outward appearances. As for stereotypes, you need to break them gradually. One way is to speak openly. If you feel that those around you or your partner feel that age is a limitation, discuss it with them. Don't be afraid to be frank. Sometimes a simple discussion can ease tension and fears. And remember, intimacy in adulthood can be even better than when you were younger. Why? Because you already know what you want and how to bring joy to yourself and your partner. It's like a dance that becomes more graceful and harmonious every year. Let's talk about the hard part: how our bodies change as we age and how that affects our relationships. To be honest, I think many of us exaggerate the significance of these changes. We tend to think that only a young body can be beautiful and worthy of intimacy. But is that really true? Admit it, because sometimes you too have had to look at mature people and notice something about them that makes them attractive, right? It's not always looks. It's something much deeper than that. And you know what? Your confidence, your energy is what really attracts people. Yes, your body changes, you get wrinkles, your strength isn't the same, but it's that experience and depth that makes you a real magnet for those who can feel it. After all, as one wise man said, true beauty is not what is on the outside, but what is on the inside, and it never fades. But here's the question: how can we maintain this self-confidence when the body starts to give away its age? It's not like we can turn a blind eye to these changes. Here's a story for you. I had a friend who was 83 years old at the time of our conversation. She had always been an active woman, looking after herself, but one day, looking in the mirror, she said, "I no longer see the woman I used to be." I asked her, "What do you see?" She replied, I see wrinkles. I see that the body is no longer the same as when I was young. I asked her again, "Are you sure that's what others see?" She wondered. Because often our perception of ourselves is distorted. We see things that are not there. If you've ever felt unattractive because of your age, consider this. What do people really see when they look at you? They see your confidence, your energy, your experience. They see that you know how to enjoy life. And that's a much stronger attraction than any youth. So when you start to doubt yourself because of age or physical changes, remember this story. Your body changes, yes, but your strength and energy stay with you, and they are what make you truly attractive. Another important point is physical activity. The more you move, the more your body responds to that movement. And it's not about exhausting yourself with workouts. Simple exercise, walks in the fresh air, and taking care of your body is enough. This will help you not only physically, but also psychologically feel better. Most importantly, don't be afraid to talk about these changes with your partner. Openness is the key to maintaining harmony in a relationship. When you are open with each other, no external changes can destroy your bond. Have you ever wondered how many of your decisions in life have been dictated by the expectations of others? From childhood, we are taught to conform, to be good children, then good adults, good parents, and of course, to age properly. But who decided what the right aging is anyway? Who says that once we reach a certain age we should give up joy, pleasure, and freedom? It's as if age is a judgment. The truth is that this judgment exists only in the mind. Society, television, and social media all dictate to us that youth is the only time to enjoy life. But this is a lie that, unfortunately, many people believe. Imagine the situation. A woman is 75 years old, and instead of just following all the rules of decent aging, she decides to have a new romance. Her children are shocked. "Mom, what are you doing? You're not 20 anymore." And she replies, "But you're not 100 either." Why does this happen? Because young people see age as something that automatically means giving up all pleasures. And do you know what the interesting thing is? Most people who insist on proper behavior in old age don't even know what it's like to live at that age themselves. So why should we listen to them? True freedom comes when you stop depending on other people's opinions. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, especially about how you should live your life after 60, 70, or even 80. You have the right to do what makes you happy, and it doesn't matter what others think about it. What to do about these stereotypes? Ignore them. Ask yourself a question right now. Who are you living for? For the society that imposes restrictions on you, or for yourself? Every time you encounter judgment, remember one simple truth. Those who judge are afraid to live freely themselves. And you are already on your way to that freedom. One more thing. Remember that you are not alone. There are thousands like you. Thousands of people who at a certain point in their lives realized that they no longer have to conform to expectations. You are no exception. When you let go of those fears and stereotypes, a new world opens up in front of you. A world where age doesn't matter. Now let's deal with how to find a balance between the joy of life and the fact that our bodies do change as we age. Many people are afraid of these changes and start living as if they are already retired from life. But you know what I say? Our body is always changing. It's a natural process that can't be stopped. But instead of being sad about it, you can embrace it as a new chapter, a new opportunity to get to know yourself. A man once told me in his 80s, "My body is not what it was when I was young, but my spirit is stronger than ever." And it's true. As we age, we begin to feel the world more deeply. Yes, the body may no longer allow us to do all the things that were easy when we were young, but on the other hand, we have more time and willingness to pay attention to the things we used to miss. Imagine that for the first time in your life you can truly enjoy the little things. The morning sun, a cup of tea, the softness of the sheets. All of this becomes especially valuable because as we age, we learn to take our time and finally notice the world around us. And this knowledge enables us to feel young inside, even as our bodies change. But what do we do when our body starts to let us down? Often in their 60s, people begin to face physical challenges that can make them feel helpless. It's as if aging takes away our strength. But here's the truth. Strength is not in how fast we can run or how much we can lift. Strength is in how we perceive our body and how we take care of it. Above all, don't forget about movement. I'm not saying you should become a marathon runner at 80, but regular walks, light exercise and yoga will help you keep your body toned. The more you move, the more your body will return the favor. This applies to flexibility and strength as well. Another important aspect is nutrition. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to what we eat. And there are no universal rules. It is important to learn to listen to your body. Pay attention to how food affects your well-being. If you start paying attention to your diet, you will notice that even small changes can have a big effect. But the most important thing is your attitude toward yourself. Don't judge your body for changing. There is wisdom in Buddhism. Everything that comes is bound to go. This applies to youth as well. But along with it comes another beauty, the beauty of maturity, of experience, of depth. It is important to accept this and learn to live with gratitude for every day that passes. Let's now talk about how aging affects your relationship with your partner. Often in adulthood, relationships become more complicated. Not only because bodies change, but also because habits, expectations, and desires change. Sometimes this can lead to distance from each other, and other times it can lead to a new level of intimacy. But here's what I want to tell you. Aging doesn't have to be a reason to break up or cool down in a relationship. On the contrary, it can be a reason to rediscover each other. As you age, the rush that was inherent in a young relationship goes away. You have time to get to know your partner more deeply, to understand their desires and fears. This is an opportunity to relearn how to be close, but on a different, more mature level. After all, as we have already said, attractiveness is not only appearance. Real intimacy is born from understanding and trust, and it is in adulthood that it can become stronger than ever. But what do you do if your partner also starts to feel insecure because of body changes? This is where it's important to be honest and open with each other. Perhaps one of you is afraid to show off your body, afraid that your partner won't perceive it the same way they used to. These fears can lead to alienation. But if you start discussing it, without shyness, without judgment, you'll be surprised at how close you can become. Simply discussing what bothers you both can break down many barriers. After all, as you mature, you have one important advantage. You are no longer afraid to speak the truth. You know that openness and honesty is the key to a real relationship. And as for your body, remember that it can be even more attractive when you have confidence and experience behind it. One way to keep intimacy in a relationship is to find new ways to enjoy each other. Maybe it's new rituals, going for walks together, massages, cuddles that don't require physical activity but still create a sense of intimacy. The key is to not be afraid to try new things and talk about your desires. And here's the important thing. Don't be afraid to compliment each other. Sometimes when we see our partner change as they age, we forget that even small words of encouragement can make all the difference. If your partner doubts your attractiveness, tell him or her that you value not only looks, but also the qualities that have come with the years. Wisdom, calmness, confidence. This is much more powerful than any youth. Another tip. Don't forget to be active together. Whether it's sports, yoga, dancing, or even just going for walks, move together. This will help you stay energized and strengthen your bond. When you move together, you are together in life. Now let's talk about one of the most delicate things that comes with age. Emotional changes. Many people face feelings of loneliness, sadness, and even depression as they mature. And it's not always due to the fact that life has gotten harder. Sometimes it just comes with the realization of time, that the days are getting shorter, the years are going by faster, and it seems like a lot is behind us. But guess what? That realization is not a reason to be sad, but a signal that it's time to learn to appreciate each moment even more. Feelings of loneliness often arise because the world is changing around us. Perhaps your children have grown up and moved away, friends are getting older or moving away, and life is becoming quieter. But silence is not always a bad thing. In Buddhism, silence is considered a source of wisdom. When there is less noise around us, It gives us the opportunity to hear ourselves. And that's where it gets interesting. Have you ever thought that silence can be your best friend? When there are no distractions, when you are alone with yourself, you begin to see the world more clearly. Yes, it can probably be intimidating, but it is actually the purest state of mind. In Buddhism, they call it a state of presence, when you are fully aware of your here and now, with no regrets about the past and no worries about the future. It's a moment when you can savor every minute. But how do you learn to find joy in solitude? That's the big question, and here's the answer. Start simple. Incorporate more moments in your life where you do something just for yourself. It might be reading a book, taking a walk in the park, meditating, or a hobby that has always brought you joy. The secret to dealing with emotional change is to learn to enjoy your own company. When you start spending time with yourself, you learn a lot of new things. You begin to see your life from a different angle and realize that loneliness is not something to fear, but something that can be your ally. Another important point is communication. Don't shut yourself off. Even if you feel like your social circle is getting smaller as you age, you can always find ways to keep in touch. It's important to keep up conversations with friends, neighbors, and children. But most importantly, don't be afraid to make new acquaintances. Age is not a barrier to finding like-minded people. Shared interests can connect you with people you might never have met when you were younger. And for those moments when loneliness becomes too intrusive, there's another way: helping others. If you are feeling lonely, help other people. This could be volunteering, helping your neighbors, or simply getting involved in your community. When you give your energy to others, loneliness goes away because you feel significant and valuable. Life seems to lose its vibrant colors as we age. There aren't the tumultuous events that there were when we were younger, and everything seems more predictable. But here's the truth. The older we get, the more we have the opportunity to notice the little things that we didn't have time for before. And it's in these little things that the real joy lies. Think back to the last time you really enjoyed a cup of coffee, listened to the birds sing at dawn, or just watched the leaves fall in the fall. You may not have had time to do this before, but now that the days are getting quieter, these moments take on a special value. And this is where the magic of life begins. Think about how many things we let pass us by because we are too busy thinking about the future or regretting the past. We are always rushing somewhere, waiting for something, but we end up missing the present moment. Buddhism teaches us that the present is the only thing that really exists. The past is already a memory, the future is just our expectations. But what we have right now is real life. A friend of mine told me that her life changed after she started noticing the little things. She was going through a difficult time. Her kids were grown, her job was over, and she felt lost. But one day she woke up in the morning and just went out into the garden. And suddenly she realized how beautiful the morning sunbeams were, how fresh the air was, and how nice it was to hear the silence. From that day on, she started taking time every morning just to be in the present moment. And do you know what happened? Her life became filled with joy. She began to notice little joys everywhere, and it brought back a sense of fullness to her life. If you feel joy slipping away, start small. Carve out time each day to just be. It can be 5 minutes in the morning or in the evening. Leave the phone, the TV, the newspapers, and just be alone with yourself. It may seem strange at first, because we're used to being busy all the time. But when you learn to be in the moment, you'll see how much joy is hidden in the simplest things. Another important point is gratitude. Learn to thank life for what you already have. It's a simple practice, but it can dramatically change your perception. Every night, think of 3 things you are grateful for. These can be the simplest things: your health, a warm home, people close to you. Over time, you will begin to notice how gratitude changes your inner state. And don't forget about creativity. Even if you've never done art, try something new: drawing, knitting, photography, or even writing a journal. It will help you express yourself and find joy in the process of creating. Often, when we reach adulthood, we feel like we're past all the important things: career, family, personal achievements. But you know what the secret is? Development doesn't stop with age. On the contrary, This is the time when you can discover new horizons that previously seemed unattainable. Often we are stopped by the fear that as we get older we are no longer capable of doing something new. We are told, it's not for you, you're too old, But you know what? Those are just another stereotypes we encounter throughout our lives. Who says you can't learn a new language, learn to play a musical instrument, or start traveling? All of these things are possible if you are willing to believe in yourself and your abilities. I remember when a friend of mine, who was well into her 70s, decided to start studying painting. She had never picked up a paintbrush before, but she had always been attracted to art. And do you know what happened? In a few months, she not only learned to paint, but she had her first exhibition. Her paintings weren't perfect, but they were filled with life and emotion that she put into each stroke. It showed her and everyone around her that it's never too late to start something new. Your mind is a powerful tool that doesn't lose its power as you age. And if you give it new challenges, it responds. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. If you think you already know everything and can't learn anything new, you are limiting yourself. If you want to keep growing and evolving, start by setting small goals. Maybe it's learning a new skill or hobby that you've always wanted to do but haven't dared. Maybe it's reading books on topics you've always been interested in, but have put off for later. That later is now. One of the most powerful ways of development is traveling. And we're not necessarily talking about long-distance travel. Even if you just go to a new place that is close to your home, it will open up a new way of looking at the world. Communicating with new people, getting to know another culture, all this stimulates your development. And another important aspect is spiritual growth. Buddhism teaches us that real growth starts from within. Meditation, introspection, searching for answers to deep questions. All this can become an important part of your life in adulthood. After all, this is the time when we begin to think about the meaning of life and what we leave behind. These reflections help you find new meaning in each day. So you and I have come a long way in discussing all aspects of life in adulthood. From body changes to emotional challenges, from the stereotypes that surround us to finding joy in simple things. But how do we bring it all together to create harmony between physical and spiritual development? When we talk about balance, it's important to remember that body and spirit are always connected. If you take care of your body, give it movement and proper nutrition, you automatically start to feel better emotionally as well. Your body is your temple, as we have discussed, and it deserves attention and love, especially as you mature. But how do you combine physical activity with spiritual development? In Buddhism, there is a concept of conscious movement, when you don't just do exercises, but do it with full attention to every movement, sensation, breath. It can be yoga, a walk in nature, or even simple stretches. The main thing is to be fully in the here and now. After all, every minute when you pay attention to your body and soul brings you closer to harmony. What can you do today? First, add more conscious movement to your life. It doesn't have to be intense workouts. Just start your day with some light exercise or meditation. This will set the tone for your day and make you feel more active and awake. Secondly, don't forget about the spiritual side of life. Meditation is one of the best ways to calm your mind and find balance within yourself. If you've never meditated, start simple. Take 5 minutes in the morning to just sit in silence, focusing on your breathing. This will help you start your day with clarity and calm. Most importantly, don't be afraid of aging. It is a natural process that brings with it not only physical changes, but also incredible wisdom and depth. You are at a stage of life when you can truly enjoy every minute, find joy in simple things, and continue to evolve despite your age. Dear viewers, remember that age is just a number. Life goes on, and it can be filled with joy, pleasure, and development if you yourself want it to be. Don't let stereotypes and fears rule your life. Remember that there is a lot of joy hidden in every day, and only you decide how to live it. And let every minute be filled with meaning and joy. And since I can't dub the video myself yet, I'm using artificial intelligence for dubbing. If you notice any mistakes or inaccuracies, let me know in the comments. Your help will make the content better.